Spring, 1519. 600 men stand on a scorching beach at the edge of an unknown world. Behind them, anchored in the bay, float 11 ships, their only way home. Ahead of them waits an empire of millions, the richest and most powerful civilization in the Americas, with armies that could drown them 1,000 times over. The men whisper around their fires. Some are already plotting to steal a ship and slip away in the night. And their commander, a 34-year-old gambler named Hernán Cortés, is about to give one of the most shocking orders in military history. Not attack, not retreat. Destroy our own fleet. Sink every ship. Erase the only road home. 2,000 years earlier, on the other side of the world, the great master Sun Tzu had written that there is one battlefield more dangerous than any other. He called it Death Ground, the place with no escape, no retreat, and no way out. And he taught something that sounds like madness, that Death Ground is exactly where soldiers become unstoppable. Throw your men into a position from which there is no escape, he wrote, and they will prefer death to flight. There is nothing they cannot achieve. For 20 centuries, that idea lived quietly on a page. Then one man staked 600 lives on it and redrew the map of the world. This is the story of the man who burned his ships and of the most dangerous idea in the psychology of winning: total commitment. Hernán Cortés was not born a conqueror. He was a minor noble from a poor corner of Spain, a restless, silver-tongued gambler who sailed to the New World at 19 with little more than debts and ambition. For years, he clawed his way up through the Spanish colonies of the Caribbean, charming, scheming, always hungry for more. By 1518, he had convinced the governor of Cuba to give him command of an expedition to the newly discovered coast of Mexico. It was the chance he had waited for his entire life. And then, at the last moment, the governor changed his mind. He knew Cortés, too clever, too ambitious, impossible to control, and he sent orders stripping him of command. Cortés received the message and simply ignored it. He rushed his ships out of the harbor and set sail anyway, which meant that from the very first day, this expedition was illegal. There would be no reinforcements, no rescue. If he failed, he would return not to a hero's welcome, but to a hangman's noose. For Hernán Cortés, the boats had started burning long before he ever touched them. In the spring of 1519, he landed on the coast of Mexico with around 600 men, 16 horses, and a handful of cannon. And there, the true scale of his gamble came into focus. The locals spoke of the Aztec Empire, of a capital city built on a lake, larger and richer than any city in Spain, of an emperor who commanded hundreds of thousands of warriors, 600 men, against all of that. The fear spread quickly, and with it, the whispers. A group of men still loyal to the governor of Cuba began plotting in secret, seize one of the ships, sail back, and denounce Cortés as a traitor. When the plot reached his ears, Cortés understood the truth that every leader eventually learns. His greatest enemy was not the empire ahead of him. It was the escape route behind him. What Cortés did next became legend. He did not hang the plotters. He needed every sword. Instead, he decided to kill the plot at its root. Not the men, the option. As long as those ships bobbed gently in the bay, every man in camp had 1 foot in Mexico and 1 foot back in Cuba. Every hardship, every wound, every hungry night would whisper the same poison. You could still go back. Courage leaks out of an army through a door left open. So he closed the door. Quietly, Cortés ordered his most trusted captains to inspect the fleet and to report, loudly and publicly, that the ships were riddled with shipworm, rotten, unseaworthy, beyond saving. It was theater. Then his men stripped the fleet bare, every cannon, every rope, every sail, every nail of iron, and hauled it all ashore. And then, one by one, the ships were run aground and sunk beneath the waves. The legend says he burned them. And the legend stuck, because fire is how it felt. Standing on that beach, 600 men watched their masts tilt and slide into the sea. Their letters home, their way back. Their plan B, gone. You can imagine the silence. Somewhere behind them, an empire of millions. In front of them, an empty, glittering ocean. Cortés gathered his men and gave them the truth, cold and simple. The ships are gone. There is no going back. Ahead of us lies either victory or death. Then he added the one promise that mattered. I will be in the front rank of every battle you fight. And here is the strange magic of Death Ground. The mutiny died that very hour. Not because the mutineers were punished, because there was nothing left to mutiny for. No lifeboat, no back door. 600 men who, a day earlier, had been torn between pushing forward and running home, now shared a single fate and a single direction. Forward. Even the fleet sailors, 100 men who had never planned to fight at all, picked up swords and joined the ranks. Think about that. The army did not shrink when the ships went down. It grew. And then they marched. 600 men, 16 horses, walking off the edge of the known map, into mountains, into unknown country, toward an empire that outnumbered them thousands to one. They fought their first great battles against the fierce warriors of Tlaxcala, outnumbered, exhausted, wounds festering, no reinforcements coming, none even possible. And they held. Again and again they held. Because that is the secret psychologists would confirm 5 centuries later. Human beings fight differently when retreat is impossible. Doubt is a luxury that belongs to people with options. And then Cortés did something a mere brute never could. He turned his enemies into his army. The Tlaxcalans, and nation after nation that had lived for generations under the crushing weight of Aztec tribute, chose to join the invader against the empire they hated. The 600 became thousands. The reckless gamble began to look like a plan. By the time Cortés reached the Valley of Mexico and looked down on the capital, a vast city of canals and causeways rising out of a lake, larger than anything he had ever seen in Europe. The impossible had quietly become inevitable in the minds of his men. They no longer asked whether they could survive this, only how they would win it. Within 2 years, the Aztec Empire, one of the mightiest powers on earth, had fallen. History remembers what followed as one of the most brutal conquests ever recorded, a civilization of millions brought down by war, disease, and greed. So let's be clear, this channel does not celebrate the conqueror. We study the move, because that single decision on the beach at Veracruz outlived the man, outlived the empire, and became one of the most powerful ideas in the psychology of achievement. Burn the boats. 500 years later, the phrase is everywhere. Motivational speakers build entire seminars around it. Tony Robbins tells millions, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. Best-selling books carry it as their title. Athletes write it on their wrists before finals. Founders quote it when they quit their jobs. Why? Because it names a truth that everyone senses and almost no one acts on. As long as you have a comfortable way out, a part of you is already using it. Psychologists call a backup plan exactly what it is: a quiet bet against yourself. Research on commitment shows something brutal. The mere act of preparing a plan B measurably drains energy, focus, and probability away from Plan A. Your brain knows the exit is there. So when the fighting gets hard, in a business, a career, a dream, it stops negotiating for the victory and starts negotiating for the exit. Half commitment doesn't cut your results in half. It kills them. But here is the part the motivational posters always miss, and it may be the most important lesson of all. Cortés did not sink his fleet in a fit of blind courage. Look closer at what he actually did. He stripped those ships of every cannon, every rope, every piece of iron before they went down. Nothing useful was wasted. And he kept back one single ship, the best one, and sent it racing across the ocean to the King of Spain, loaded with treasure and carefully written letters to transform his illegal adventure into a royal mission. He destroyed his escape route. He never destroyed his brain. Total commitment does not mean total recklessness. Burn the exits. Never burn the thinking. So here is the lesson, and it lands on every one of us. Everyone has ships. The safe job you keep just in case, while your real dream starves on the side. The goal you never announce, so that no one will know if you quit. The project, the skill, the relationship you approach with one foot always out the door. Those are your ships, and as long as they sit floating quietly in the bay, you will never fight like the men at Veracruz fought. You don't need more courage, you need fewer exits. Hannibal won by building the perfect trap. Alexander won by aiming everything at a single decisive point. Cortés won because he made winning the only option left on the table. Choose your island carefully. Plan like a chess master. And then, when you are sure, truly sure, burn the ships. If this story lit a fire in you, subscribe, because every episode here breaks down one decisive move by history's greatest minds and the lesson you can actually use. And believe me, history is full of minds even more dangerous than this one. The next story is already waiting. I'll see you there.